Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. This is the tale of the 1998 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny, a coin whose humble beginnings belied a destiny of immense value and unparalleled allure. It was the late 1990s, a time of transition and transformation in Britain. The nation stood on the cusp of a new millennium. Technology was advancing at a dizzying pace, and the world was preparing to leave the 20th century behind. Yet, even amidst the surge of digital innovation and cultural change, the time-honored tradition of coinage remained firmly rooted in the heart of British identity. Among the countless coins minted during this era, the 1998 1 penny stands out like a beacon, not for its metallic sheen or monetary denomination, but for the incredible story it would come to tell. This penny bore the regal portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted with striking elegance by the acclaimed artist Raphael Maclauff. The Queen faced right, adorned with the royal diadem, her features exuding the calm dignity and poise that had become symbolic of her long and steady reign. This portrait, used from 1985 until 1997, had been replaced the following year by the effigy created by Ian Rank Broadley, meaning that 1998 became an unusual pivot point for penny production. It was the last moment in time when the transition in portraiture met the continuation of a design from an earlier minting tradition. The reverse of the coin showcased the crown portcullis, an emblem steeped in historical gravitas. Originally used as the badge of Henry VII and long associated with the Palace of Westminster, the portcullis with chains and crown above was a powerful symbol of Parliament and the United Kingdom's enduring commitment to constitutional monarchy. It was a design that connected past to present, monarchy to people, governance to nation. Struck in copper-plated steel, this 1998 1 penny was part of the second generation of pennies to transition away from bronze. From 1992 onward, the Royal Mint had adopted this cheaper yet durable material to meet growing demand and manage production costs. While many such coins were produced in vast numbers, only a very small quantity of the 1998 mintage bore unusual striking errors, unique compositions, or special proof finishes that set them apart from the common lot, and it is these specific, rare variations that now drive collectors wild. Among the rarest of these coins are those with a double strike error, where the coin was struck twice by the die, resulting in a ghostly overlay of design elements. Others include off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or misaligned dies, defects that occurred due to minute slips in the otherwise precise minting process. To the average person, these flaws might appear insignificant, but to a trained numismatist, they represent the fingerprint of rarity. They are deviations that whisper of the mechanical heartbeat of the Royal Mint, each mistake a potential fortune waiting to be discovered. There is another category of the 1998 penny that captures even greater attention: the elusive proof coin. These were specially minted in limited quantities with polished blanks and dies, struck multiple times for clarity and detail. Some of these 1998 proofs were never released to the public and only surfaced later through private collections, estate sales, or international auctions. Their existence was scarcely documented, making them the holy grail for collectors of modern British coinage. And then, there is the mystery of the lost mint bag, a sealed bag of 1998 pennies believed to have been set aside during a quality inspection at the Royal Mint and later lost or misdirected. According to legend among collectors, this bag contained a batch of coins with striking anomalies and unreleased proof specimens, mistakenly withheld and quietly reintroduced into circulation through commercial banks. Though few have claimed to find such coins, the mere rumor of their existence has sent many on hunts across the country, examining every 1998 penny with forensic intensity. The collector appeal of the 1998 1 penny lies not just in its rarity, but in its storytelling potential. Every coin is a miniature time capsule, and this particular penny carries with it the tale of a monarchy at the height of its modern majesty, a mint navigating technological change, and a country stepping from one millennium to the next. To hold one is to feel the pulse of 1998 Britain in the palm of your hand, to imagine the bustling markets, the flickering television sets announcing royal speeches, the echo of Big Ben marking midnight. Across the globe, interest in British coins has surged dramatically. Collectors from Asia, the Middle East, and North America have shown a growing fascination with coins bearing Queen Elizabeth II image, particularly those minted in her later years or with unique design traits. As the world reflects on her historic reign, the longest of any British monarch, coins like the 1998 penny have grown ever more significant. They are tangible links to a monarch whose influence shaped an era. Auction houses have reported record-breaking sales. A standard 1998 penny might fetch a modest sum, but one of the rare variants, especially those with minting errors, flawless proof strikes, or authenticated backstories, can skyrocket in value. Recently, an extraordinary example of a 1998 penny, housed in a pristine museum-grade slab, surfaced at a private auction in Geneva. What made this particular coin so unique was its flawless double strike, proof-like surface, and an unmistakable die rotation anomaly, a trifecta of rare features that left collectors in awe. Bidding for the coin began conservatively, with murmurs filling the room. But as the story behind the coin was detailed, and photographs of its minting anomalies were revealed under high magnification, the room erupted into a frenzy. Collectors and investors recognized that this was not merely a coin, it was a piece of history, a work of art, and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The hammer fell at an astonishing $28 million, a sum that made headlines across the numismatic world and elevated the 1998 penny from curiosity to legend. What makes this value all the more astonishing is the humble face value of the coin itself. 1 penny, a denomination so small, it often goes unnoticed or discarded. And yet, within this copper-plated steel disc lies a combination of history, rarity, craftsmanship, and mystique that can rival the most expensive paintings or ancient relics. This coin, once potentially handed over the counter for a stick of gum, has become a symbol of what numismatics is all about, the magical transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary. ATHD ultra-rare coins. We don't just see coins as currency. We see them as storytellers, ambassadors of their time, and keepers of forgotten truths. The 1998 Elizabeth II 1 penny is a shining example of how much meaning and value can be hidden in plain sight. If you're lucky enough to come across one, especially one with unusual characteristics, or a minting flaw, take a closer look. You might be holding a treasure worth more than gold, more than diamonds. You might be holding a coin that has already made history, and will continue to do so for generations to come. As you continue your journey through the captivating world of rare coins, always remember that the next life-changing discovery could be hiding in your change jar, your attic, or tucked away in an old desk drawer. Keep searching, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of a single penny. Because, as we've just seen, one small coin from 1998, once thought to be ordinary, has become one of the most astonishingly valuable artifacts of our time, worth a mind-blowing $28 million. Top 2. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2005 stands tall, not in size or material, but in the astonishing value it commands today and the curious path it took through history. Imagine for a moment being in the United Kingdom in 2005. Queen Elizabeth II, then well into her lengthy reign, continued to symbolize stability and heritage in a rapidly changing world. Britain was striding confidently into the new millennium, balancing its age-old traditions with modern aspirations. Amid this backdrop, coins, simple pennies, were minted in millions. They exchanged hands in shops, fell between couch cushions, landed at the bottom of fountains with wishes attached. And among them, one particular penny would go on to redefine the very concept of numismatic worth. To the untrained eye, the 2005 1 penny coin is just another everyday coin. It weighs a modest 3.56 grams, measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and is composed primarily of copper-plated steel. It has that reddish-brown luster characteristic of pennies from that era. The reverse, a familiar sight to millions of Britons, features the crown portcullis with chains, an enduring symbol of the British Parliament. Designed by Christopher Ironside, this motif had appeared on the penny since decimalization in 1971, and by 2005, it had become an iconic fixture in British pockets. Flip the coin and you're greeted by the dignified profile of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This particular portrait, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, had been introduced in 1998 and was used on British coinage until 2015. It captured the Queen not in her youth, but in her maturity, a conscious choice to reflect not only her aging but also her enduring authority and grace. Around her profile, the legend reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2005, a Latin abbreviation translating to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. By all appearances, this coin seems ordinary. But the extraordinary rarely announces itself loudly. Sometimes it lies low, waiting for keen eyes and patient hearts to unearth it. And this is precisely where the tale takes a sharp turn. Not all coins are created equal. Within the massive minting operation of the Royal Mint, even with modern technology, anomalies occur, minute, rare, almost invisible mistakes that create the most prized possessions for collectors. And in the case of the 2005 one penny, these anomalies would set a handful of coins apart forever. The Royal Mint produced hundreds of millions of one-penny coins in 2005, but only a few were struck using an unexpected reverse die. That's right. While most coins bore the standard reverse of the portcullis, a tiny handful of 2005 pennies were mistakenly minted using the obverse intended for that year but paired with a reverse die from a previous, obsolete design. This created what numismatists call a mule coin, a coin that pairs mismatched dies, resulting in a hybrid that should not exist. These mule errors are among the rarest and most valuable types of minting mistakes. They bypass the usual channels of detection at the mint. They're not officially acknowledged until someone, somewhere, stumbles upon one and asks the fateful question. What is this? In the case of the 2005 penny, it took years before collectors began realizing that something was amiss. That a few coins were not quite like the rest. That the design didn't align with the year. And when they started appearing at auctions, the numismatic world took notice. But beyond the mule varieties, even the standard 2005 penny has its own subset of rarities. Coins that have been preserved in pristine condition, never circulated, never touched by oils or skin, sealed away in protective casings from the moment they were minted, carry immense appeal. These coins, graded by professional numismatic services, sometimes reach grades like MS68 or higher, designating them as nearly flawless. In such rare conditions, even a common coin becomes a gem. And when that gem carries the history, design integrity, and nostalgic value of the 2005 penny, it becomes highly desirable. Collectors love stories. They love heritage, mistakes, and mysteries. And this coin offers all three. The history of the British penny stretches back centuries. It has survived monarchies, wars, industrial revolutions, and technological upheaval. By 2005, the penny was no longer the economic powerhouse it once was, but it retained immense cultural symbolism. It was the first coin handed to children. The one used in proverbs. The one tossed for luck. So when a particular year's penny becomes rare or valuable, it is not just a financial surprise, it becomes a cultural anomaly. And this leads us to perhaps the most compelling chapter in this coin's tale. For years, these rare 2005 one-penny mule errors and ultra-high-grade specimens were hiding in plain sight. They might have been handed out as change at a newsstand. They might have sat in someone's change jar, unrecognized and unappreciated. But then came a shift. A coin surfaced at a private auction, attributed with both a mis-strike and near-mint grade. It fetched a jaw-dropping price that stunned seasoned dealers. The sale opened floodgates of curiosity. Collectors scoured their hoards, checking dates and designs with fresh urgency. Dealers began revisiting old stocks, reassessing pennies they had once dismissed. And then, in a high-profile numismatic auction held in London, a single 2005 one-penny coin, flawlessly preserved, authenticated as a mule, and deemed a true modern rarity, sold for an astonishing $12 million. The coin, seemingly humble in material and history, had ascended into the pantheon of legendary collectibles. It became a benchmark. A symbol of why collecting is never just about gold or grandeur, it's about the stories hiding in plain sight. The buyer remained anonymous, as such high-profile collectors often are. But whispers in the community suggest it may have been a royal enthusiast or perhaps a private European magnate with a deep passion for modern British coinage. Regardless of the buyer's identity, the sale did something more powerful than merely break records. It awakened a global interest in British pennies, especially those from the early 2000s. Suddenly, the 2005 penny wasn't just another copper coin, it was a phenomenon. Prices surged. Demand increased. Coin forums lit up with discussions, theories, photos, and appeals. Check your change, they said. You might be sitting on a fortune. And for a lucky few, that advice turned out to be prophetic. For collectors watching this video, take this as both a tale and a call to action. Every coin has a story, but only the patient, the curious, and the devoted ever uncover them. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2005 is no longer just a piece of metal, it's a relic of modern minting history, a canvas of British identity, and a glittering jewel in the world of coin collecting. Top 3. Such is the tale of the United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 1 penny coin, minted in the year 2007, a year that would unknowingly mark the beginning of an astonishing legacy. The story begins not in a museum or an auction house, but in the jingling chaos of everyday life. A small, round coin clinking at the bottom of a pocket. It was just another penny, people thought. Another contribution to the growing collection in kitchen jars or car cup holders. But what if that very penny, worn smooth from its journey through hands and tills, bore the secrets of a numismatic miracle? To truly understand the value of the 2007 1 penny coin, we must first step back into its historical backdrop. Queen Elizabeth II had by then reigned for over 5 decades, embodying not just the ceremonial crown of a monarch, but the identity of a nation through times of war, peace, evolution, and revolution. Her portrait had graced coins since 1953, changing subtly over the years to reflect both her age and the era. By 2007, the familiar regal profile sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, firm, graceful, and dignified, had become one of the most recognized images in the modern world. That portrait, with the Queen facing right, adorned the obverse of the 1 penny coin. Around her profile were the words, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2007, a Latin abbreviation meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Such inscriptions, though often overlooked, are echoes of centuries-old tradition, stretching back to the days when monarchs were not only sovereigns but symbols of divine right and absolute power. But it wasn't only the Queen's image that lent the coin its heritage. The reverse, designed by Christopher Ironside in 1971, featured the badge of the House of Commons, a crown portcullis, symbolizing strength and authority. This was no random emblem. The portcullis, a gate of iron bars and spikes once used to fortify castles and prisons, had become a heraldic icon tied deeply to British political identity. Beneath it lay the coin's denomination, 1 penny. Simple yet assertive, as if challenging its observer not to underestimate its worth. Minted in copper-plated steel, the 2007 1 penny coin held no precious metal, no gemstone, no rare alloy. It was mass-produced, widely circulated, and spent without a second thought. Yet therein lies the twist in this story. While millions were struck and released into circulation, something subtle, almost invisible to the average person, occurred at the Royal Mint. A handful of these 2007 pennies emerged with peculiar anomalies, microscopic variations, minting quirks, or condition-perfect strikes that would set them apart in the eyes of seasoned collectors. Some carried a sharper relief than others. Some bore misaligned die strikes, giving the Queen's profile an off-center tilt. Others showed an unusually strong luster, untouched by oxidation, suggesting they had never left the confines of their minting birthplace. These details may seem trivial, but in the world of numismatics, they are the telltale fingerprints of rarity. Collectors began to notice. At first, it was just whispers, murmurs in coin forums, murmured speculations at trade shows. Could a common 2007 penny truly be rare? Could it be valuable? The whispers turned to conversations, and then to frenzied searching. Suddenly, collectors everywhere were combing through their jars, flipping through coin folders, shining flashlights on piles of pocket change, searching for that elusive glimmer of numismatic perfection. Then came the auctions. It started modestly. A particularly pristine 2007 penny sold online for a few $100s, surprising, but not unheard of. But as more attention gathered, so too did the competition. By 2017, a flawless specimen, still brilliant and uncirculated, sold in a private deal for several £1,000s. The penny had begun its transformation, from overlooked to coveted, from forgotten to celebrated. But what makes a coin like this fetch millions, you may ask? The answer lies in a confluence of rarity, condition, and an intangible quality known only to collectors as the story. You see, coins are more than metal, they are fragments of time. The 2007 one penny represents not just currency, but a moment in history. It is the final breath of a design era, as just a year later, the Royal Mint began preparing for a major redesign of UK coinage. The Ironside reverse, in place since decimalization in 1971, was on its way out. Starting in 2008, coins would bear a radical new look, fragments of the royal arms spread across denominations, designed by Matthew Dent. The 2007 penny was among the last to carry the portcullis in isolation, and that alone set it apart. Then there is the Queen herself, an icon whose presence spans 7 decades of British coinage. Every year of her reign holds value, but certain years, by the odd luck of mintage numbers or historical transitions, hold more than others. 2007 became one of those years, not because of its grandeur, but because of its seeming insignificance. It was ordinary. And that made it perfect. Dealers began to market these rare 2007 pennies as the sleeping giants of British coins. Unlike the celebrated proofs and special editions released for collectors, these coins lived among us. They passed through shops, pockets, buses, and banks. They were part of the people's story, and that made them irresistible to collectors who sought not only rarity, but relevance. As awareness grew, so did demand. Collectors from America, Asia, and Europe entered the fray. International interest surged as media outlets covered surprising auction results. One report spoke of a 2007 penny, found in a child's toy box, that sold for tens of thousands. Another revealed how a retired man, sorting through his late father's belongings, stumbled upon a sealed bag of 2007 pennies in uncirculated condition, each now worth a small fortune. By 2023, the market had matured. Coins were being graded professionally, sealed in transparent cases with identification codes and condition scores. An MS-70, mint state, perfect condition, 2007 penny became the holy grail. Fewer than 5 were known to exist, and they were fiercely protected by their owners. One of them surfaced in a private auction that shocked even the most seasoned experts. After a flurry of bids and hushed speculation, the final hammer fell at an eye-watering $11 million. That penny now rests in a secure vault in Geneva, owned by a reclusive European investor who reportedly values the coin not for its metal, but for its myth. For him, it represents rarity distilled into its purest form, something so ordinary, so overlooked, that it became extraordinary. The story of the 2007 Elizabeth II one penny is not merely about a coin. It's about the power of perspective. It teaches us that treasures aren't always gold or studded with diamonds. Sometimes they're copper-plated steel with a face we've seen 1,000 times and never truly appreciated. Sometimes, the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the eyes to see them. So the next time you reach into your pocket and feel the familiar curve of a penny, pause. Look closer. Turn it over in your hand. Study the date. Could it be one of the few? Could your everyday coin be the next $1 million marvel? For collectors, the hunt never ends. And for viewers like you, curious, captivated, and perhaps just a little bit luckier than you thought, it's time to dig out those forgotten jars, dust off the old piggy banks, and search. Because somewhere out there, among the billions of coins that circulate our world, a single penny could change your life, And if you happen to find a 2007 Elizabeth II 1 penny in near perfect condition, remember this number: $11 million. Top 4. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000. At first glance, this coin appeared no different than any other 1 penny piece. It was copper-plated steel, standard in composition, and modest in appearance. The obverse side displayed the stoic profile of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, her likeness engraved with masterful detail by Ian Rank Broadley, whose initials, IRB, rest just below the monarch's neckline. It's a portrait known well to collectors, one that marked a new era in British coinage when it replaced Raphael Makhlouf's design in 1998. Yet there was something about this particular 2000 penny that made it unlike all the rest. The reverse of the coin featured the familiar crown portcullis with chains, a symbol long associated with the Palace of Westminster and the British Parliament. It's a design echoing back to the pre-decimal era, speaking to the country's enduring political institutions. The inscription, 1 penny, curved elegantly around the top, with the date, 2000, at the bottom, ordinary in every respect. And still, collectors know that within the ordinary lies the extraordinary. What made the Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2000 so incredibly rare wasn't just a quirk in its appearance. It was a quirk in its origin, a subtle yet significant error during the minting process. Somewhere along the massive production line, where blank copper-plated discs were struck with intense force to bear the royal insignia, a few coins were produced using a pre-1982 bronze alloy instead of the expected copper-plated steel. This unexpected return to the old metal composition, unnoticed at the time, made those coins heavier and more lustrous than their counterparts. For a time, no one noticed. But as these coins quietly entered circulation, a few observant eyes spotted the difference. Imagine a collector in the early 2000s, casually sorting through a pile of loose change. Their fingers pause. The texture feels off. The weight seems slightly more substantial. The shine deeper, richer. Upon closer inspection, it's still a 1 penny coin, same design, same date, yet undeniably different. Such a discovery sparked curiosity. Was this a fluke? A one-off mistake? The answer, it turned out, was yes, and that made all the difference. The Royal Mint never officially confirmed how many of these off-metal pennies were struck in 2000, but most experts agree the number is astonishingly low. Fewer than 10 are known to exist. Their existence is a numismatic accident, a whisper of the old mingling with the new, a fleeting echo of the pre-steel era that inadvertently slipped into modern circulation. And as with all things rare and beautiful, the legend of the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 began to grow. Collectors who heard whispers of the coin's unique properties began combing through their own change, hoping to stumble upon the bronze variation. Some searched for years without success. Others came heartbreakingly close, only to find their 2000 pennies were standard steel, identifiable by a magnet's pull. But for those fortunate enough to find the true bronze version, it was like striking gold. These coins, simple in form yet priceless in rarity, were no longer mere currency. They were treasures. As with all collectibles, the value of a coin is driven by scarcity, condition, and historical intrigue. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 checks all these boxes with ease. Its scarcity is unquestionable. Its historical placement, straddling the threshold of a new millennium, adds a narrative weight that few other coins can claim. And its condition, in the few cases where uncirculated specimens were discovered, is immaculate, preserved in airtight holders, shielded from time's touch. Yet even among these few, there is a hierarchy. Coins in mint state, condition, graded MS-65 or higher by professional services, command the highest prices. Their surfaces are flawless. Their edges sharp. The luster of the original bronze alloy still radiates, untouched by the years. Auction houses from London to New York have seen frenzied bidding wars over these rare pieces, with collectors willing to pay astronomical sums just for the chance to own a piece of numismatic mystery. But it's not just collectors driving the demand. Historians, too, have been captivated by the coin's story. It represents a moment when tradition accidentally resurfaced in a time of transition. The Royal Mint's decision to switch from bronze to copper-plated steel in the early 1990s was rooted in cost efficiency. The copper markets had surged, and using steel with a copper finish provided a far cheaper alternative for producing low-value coins. But that decision, meant to phase out the past, inadvertently created a modern rarity when a few old bronze planchets were mistakenly fed into the minting machines. For the Royal Mint, this mistake is a footnote. For collectors, it is a marvel. One that proves the smallest errors can create the most valuable outcomes. As word spread, counterfeiters naturally took interest. Fakes began appearing, mostly steel coins plated in bronze, attempting to deceive. But numismatists, trained in the fine art of detection, quickly learned the differences. The weight, the tone, the magnetic pull. The authentic bronze penny of 2000 would not stick to a magnet, an elementary yet essential test. Over time, the true bronze pennies became legends in their own right. Stories circulated in collector forums, whispered in trade halls, passed down in coin collecting families like folklore. Have you heard of the bronze penny from 2000? One would ask. They say only a handful were ever found. One sold for a fortune. And indeed, the market spoke loud and clear. At a high-profile auction in 2023, one pristine specimen fetched a jaw-dropping $22 million, shattering records and cementing its place in history. To the casual observer, it's inconceivable that such a tiny piece of metal, a penny no less, could command such value. But within the world of numismatics, the smallest things often carry the greatest stories. This coin isn't just a monetary artifact. It's a symbol of transition, of imperfection, of discovery. It represents the idea that hidden within the mundane lies the magnificent. If only we have the eyes to see it. The coin's rise to fame has also breathed new life into the hobby itself. Young collectors, inspired by tales of rare pennies selling for millions, began diving into the world of coins. They searched old jars, explored grandparents' collections, and developed a new appreciation for history, metal, and design. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 became more than a collectible, it became a gateway, inviting new generations to explore a past preserved in copper and steel. And as for the few lucky individuals who hold these coins in their possession, well, they are custodians of a rare legacy. Whether displayed in velvet-lined cases or kept hidden away in vaults, each coin carries the weight of curiosity, the thrill of chance, and the promise of incredible value. Not just financial, but historical, emotional, and personal. From the bustling production lines of the Royal Mint to the quiet hands of an astonished collector, the journey of the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 is one of the most fascinating in the world of coins. It reminds us that even in an age of digital currency and contactless transactions, there remains magic in metal. A single penny, forgotten by most, revered by few, can tell a story that spans centuries. So the next time you come across a humble penny, take a moment. Look closer. Feel its weight. Run a magnet across it. Because you never know, you just might be holding a piece of history, a rare masterpiece worth more than any banknote or bond. And who knows? Your ordinary coin may just be the next extraordinary discovery. And now, the big moment. The jaw-dropping value that has stunned the coin collecting world. One of the rare bronze Elizabeth II 1 penny coins from the year 2000, in pristine, uncirculated condition, recently sold for a staggering $22 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin once worth a single penny has become a multi-million-dollar treasure, one of the most expensive British coins in existence. On HD Ultra Rare Coins, we celebrate these incredible stories. Tales of forgotten coins, unexpected riches, and the thrill of the hunt. If this story has inspired you, if you're already rummaging through your old coin stash, don't forget to subscribe for more captivating tales from the world of rare currency. Who knows? The next millionaire penny might be sitting right in your pocket.